Hello, my lovelies. Give me one moment. I have not set up something real quick, so I'm going to go dark. I'll be right back. All right. I had some clutter here and I had to remove it. So it's like, just a minute. I got to get rid of stuff. But it also gave me time to show you my newest little bat that I made. It's a little pin. Thought he was cute. Anyways, as we can tell, I'm falling behind schedule today. Not because anything has happened, just because time gets away from me from time to time. I get sucked into watching other videos. So if you are in chat, let me know. Say hi. Tonight for Witchy Wednesday, we are going to be creating a witch's hat. The same style witch's hat that you've seen me wear in previous videos. I'm going to show you how to make one of those of your own. Now, I used a little less, probably half a yard. I say a full yard just to be safe, but I used about a yard of felt, black felt. And again, I know I used absolutely half a yard, but when you're doing this for the first time and you don't do it well, you go big. So I have a yard of black felt, and I decided I was going to make myself a witch's hat. I do not sew. I do not create patterns. This is not in my realm of things that I can do, or at least the things that I thought I couldn't do. And as a witch, I find it super important for me to push myself out of comfort zones. I find it super important for me to, how do I put it? If I'm out of a comfort zone, then I'm able to push through the things that I don't think that are possible. So I'm always pushing, always pushing. Hey, Zarabeth, how are you? That's right. That's fine. You eat and just watch. So what I wanted you to do was that if you wanted to go along with me, get yourself some black felt. All right. First thing you're going to do, and I might made some of these out of paper just because it's really hard to create a full hat in 1 hour. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to figure out how big of a circle you need. Now this circle is what's sitting on the top of your head. All right. And this is smaller than the actual hat. I will say this is smaller. It's only because of being on camera and everything like that. My hat that I am, and this has not been sewn. We will sew this on camera. But this hat right here that is just tacked up, this hat right here is 20 inches from edge to edge. All right. So I made a 20-inch circle. All right. Easiest way to do that is to mark off with a ruler, find the center of the, I'm 20 inches and I went, and at 10 inches, I made a little mark. And then I just took a pencil at the end of the ruler, held one side to 10 and just went around, just held the ruler around and traced it. This one was traced with a plate. So that's why it's a little bit better of a circle. If you see the hat that's underneath here, I'm just not good at circles. But you're going to make 2 of these. All right. So 2 20-inch circles. You're going to lay them on top of each other, and you are going to pin the inside. All right. Before you pin the inside, though, you're going to take and you're going to fold it into a quarter. So you're going to fold it into a quarter like this. Fold it in half and then fold it in a quarter. The size of my head, I measured it, and 10-inch circumference will sit on my head very nicely. So I knew that the interior circle needed to be 10 inches. So what I did was I was like, all right, that needs to be 10 inches. I want my brim to be, another 5 to 6 inches. So I measured from the edge to the middle. I measured the amount I wanted my brim to be, minus what I thought was going to be my circle. Then I just cut it out, if that made sense to you guys just then. Hey, Danielle, how are you? Heathen, what's up? So once I cut it out, once I had this all folded and I just cut out from one edge to the other, and this little kind of crescent circle, I guess you'd say, I got a circle inside. So this gets me to this part, okay? Right here. That gets me to this part. I've got my brim, and I've got the inside where my head's going to sit. The next thing I needed to worry about was the cone shaped at the top. And again, like I know for a fact there are better ways to do this witch's hat. So don't come at me in comments, please. I know for a fact. This is just me who honestly is very spatially challenged. Like I am an artist, however, I don't see the world in shapes. I see the world in textures. So it's very hard for me when I'm drawing something or I'm trying to do something that requires patterning. I don't see the world that way. So the hat, for me, I had to think about it in a way that made sense for me. So if you're like me and you're spatially challenged, this will make sense as opposed to the patterns you see online. All right. So I measured my head. My head was like 10 inches. So I knew the interior circle had to be 10 inches. And then I wanted 5 inches off to the side, right? On either side. I wanted my brim to be 5 inches. So that was 10 plus 5 plus 5 is 20. So my whole entire circle is 20 inches. All right. The interior circle that got cut out, that was 10 inches in circumference. I wanted the cone to be at least 18 inches because the other hat that I have that I really like, that's how tall it is. It's 18 inches tall. I was like, all right, I know I want the top to be like 18 inches so it can flap over. But how do I attach the bottom? How do I know how wide that was supposed to be, right? So that took me a good bit. I know that seems so simple to people to figure out how am I going to, measure this out. It didn't make sense to me. So I figured it out. I figured, guess what? It's just two triangles. And for my hat, the bottom, the base, is 10 inches, right? So 2 triangles with a 10-inch base. And then all I did was I measured 18 inches from the bottom of my fabric to the top. And then I measured 10 inches from one side of the fabric to the other. And then I just made a triangle. I just connected the dots, basically. I used a ruler, connected the dots, then cut them out. So I had 2 triangles. I first tried this, and this would work too. This will work too. However, that requires that you had your fabric folded in half. If you folded your fabric in half, you can just make one big triangle. But that's where we are. All right. All right. We've got this. We've got it pinned, right? The next step for this part of it, you need to make these little tiny darts. I don't think they're called darts. I think they're just flaps. Again, I don't sew, so I don't know the name for them. This is just the way I did things. So I've got these little tiny flaps because I want to connect this top part to the hat, all right? To the brim of the hat. for showing purposes, I went ahead and just kind of put the, sorry, my brain is struggling tonight. I put the needles. What are they called? The pins. I put the pins in there. Good night. Words are hard tonight for me. So I put the pins in just so that way you can understand how it would look attached to the brim. But we're not at that step. The step that we are at, we need to attach the two pieces. So that's what we're going to do together tonight. We're going to attach these two pieces so that way you can see how I attach these. I am going to detach this, and hopefully we'll get through enough and we'll have enough time so you can see how I'm going to attach the actual hat part, the actual brim. All right. So that was a really rushed, how did I get to this part? You're going to have to stop and go back, I'm sure. And there was probably a better way of explaining all that. But again, my brain is spatially just, See, okay, we've got Maria! What's up? I haven't seen you in so long. Jared, hello. Oh, Amanda's with you? I hope she's doing well. Hope you're both doing well. Pins. Thank you, Zarabeth. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I get so nervous doing this because this is not my thing. Like, I am not a seamstress. I don't make hats. I don't make clothes. I don't sew. So teaching somebody how to make something, I get so incredibly nervous. This is a skill that is not my best skill, but I muddled through it. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this with y'all, is because we can muddle through it, right? We'll muddle through it and we'll figure it out. And that hopefully inspires other people to go, you know what, if she can muddle through that, I can muddle through what I want to muddle through. So maybe inspire people to try things that they're not comfortable with, right? Hey, Angela, what's up? Oh, Zarabeth, they're horrible. They are horrible, okay? I don't want them anymore. No more. Have you seen the TikTok where the woman's in her robe and she's in the field and she's looking up and she's like, no, thank you. I don't want it. She's like manifesting an empty plate or something like that. I was just like, yeah, I know this feeling. Oh, Maria. No, that's good though that work is crazy busy. That's good. And no, it's not good that you're going through a rough October, but it's good that you're staying busy. Busy is always helpful because then you don't realize how slow time is going. I hope the rest of your year is smoother. Oh, yes. That's sweet. This is what, Zarabeth, that's exactly why I was saying the other day, I absolutely adore our community because we're always like trying to uplift others and make sure that everybody in our community is good and okay. And I just find it very cool. By the way, regular black thread, I have no clue how old this thread is. No clue. My grandmother is a hoarder, and my mom gave me her sewing stuff because there was no need for them to have it anymore. So they gave them to me. And oh my gosh, guys, the amount of thread I have. And I don't even know what year she bought that thread in, but it's old. But it has stood the test of time because this is the thread I used on that last hat. And it did well. So I'm going to use it again. Angela, you're doing better. I know. I am so sorry about your baby bird, by the way. I am so sorry. You're just physically tired today. Yeah. This week has just been weird for a lot of people for some reason. Maria, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. That's a good thing. All right. So I'm sewing the brim of the hat, and I'm going to sew the edge first. And because these are circles that I cut out at 2 different times, of course, not all the edges are going to meet up. That's just the nature of the beast for me. But the idea is that I'm going to sew the complete brim on the outside. I will flip it inside out, so then you won't see the stitching, right? I'll flip it inside out, and then I am going to sew the hat cone on the brim. Those little flaps that we had cut, those flaps are going in between this. All right. So that way it gives the hat a little bit more stability. It's not going to be a hat that is going to be very, how do I want to put it? Structurally perky. Like it's not going to be stiff, right? Structurally perky. I'm looking for the word stiff and I come up with structurally perky. Words and I aren't getting along today, y'all. So anyways, it's not going to be a, perfect hat. It's going to be that floppy hat, like the one that I wear. It's floppy, and that's why we make it out of felt. Now, if you don't want that, if you don't want it to be floppy, you can take cardboard, cut out cardboard, like cereal board, right? The little cereal boxes, and you can make a circle to be inserted into this. So that way, when you actually sew on the cone of it, it will stand out. It'll be stiff. The other way that you can make this stiff is by using starch. All right, you can use spray starch to make the brim stiff. I don't like a stiff brimmed hat, so I just don't do it. I typically go with the floppy hat. I like that better. I just felt so bad that Lydia had to see me break down. Oh, but Lydia is so sweet. Lydia is so sweet. Zarabeth, I don't sew, and that's the thing. Like, my daughter sews. My daughter will sew, but I do not sew. And so I thought, she uses this more than I do. But you would think that all the women in my family sew, so you would think that I would be able to, and it just doesn't come naturally to me. It doesn't feel right. It's not a thing that I like to do or enjoy. I was taught how to quilt when I was a young teenager because I was a Mormon when I was a teenager. And Mormons absolutely believe in teaching their daughters to be homemakers. And so we would have homemaking classes. That's a legitimate thing. We had homemaking classes, and we would learn how to cook. We would learn how to clean properly. We learned how to sew. We learned how to I remember being 8, 9 years old, and in a primary class, which is the young kids Sunday school. I remember being in the young kids Sunday school, and they took us girls away and taught us how to sew buttons. We had button races. So from a very early age, you're taught homemaking skills. So you would think I'd be able to sew better than I do. It just didn't. No, it was not something that, no, not happening, hot stuff. Much to their dismay, what stuck was more of the camping stuff than anything else. It's like, oh, you're taking me out in nature? Okay. I'll do that. Get back into sewing. I know so many people that find it relaxing. And I guess it can be. I mean, there's a repetitive nature, sort of like crocheting. I tried to pick up crocheting. Crocheting is another thing that I just It doesn't, the way you see things to get things done, it doesn't make sense to me in my head. I am very spatially challenged. I can't see the way other people see the world. I just don't. I see it in textures. That's why I prefer painting. Like, I can paint, and I can paint pretty much anything that you put in front of me because paint is a texture. So I can understand texturally how it should look. That's weird, I know. I'm sorry. You can also use coat hanger. Yes, you can sew a coat hanger. That's absolutely right. I've seen where they use coat hangers, and they also used pipe cleaner. I saw that they used pipe cleaner. Now, the pipe cleaner one, though, I think would eventually kind of wear out. Don't you think? I think that it would eventually wear out. Then the wire ones, if you unwind the wire from the hanger from it, should be long enough. That's true. That's true. My husband prefers the wire hangers for his clothes, so I know that we have quite a few of them. My little hack to sewing repetitive stitches, by the way, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not. Let's see if I can do it this way. I take the needle, I stick it in to the bottom, right? But I don't pull my needle all the way through. I kind of just bend my fabric back and forth over the needle. So then it looks like I've just pinned the fabric like that. And then I push the needle through. I'm in a group of sewers, though, so I don't think anybody needed that. But if somebody watching doesn't sew like me, there you go. There's my little how to get through monotonous. Does this have to be perfect as far as close seams and blah, 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 blah? Like, the seams have to be perfect? No. No, it's a witch's hat. And matter of fact, most of mine, when I get done with this, I'm going to take a steel tool, like a rasp. I'll take a rasp to this to fluff up the felt. So that way it'll look beat up and aged. So it really doesn't have to have perfect stitching or anything like that. The rougher, the better. The one that you guys see me wear, it actually has tan spray paint on it because I wanted it to look old. So I spray painted it so that way it looks like it's dusty, like it's been aged for a while. That's one of the things that I should put online is how do I age clothing? How do I make something look old? But that is definitely not a Witchy Wednesday thing. Oh, we got to figure out what to do next Wednesday. I don't think we have anything planned. Or do we? Zarabeth? Sometimes I do it back and forth and then pull the needle through in a while if I'm doing a straight line. Yeah. I want to make sure, is it to make sure that your line is straight? The reason why you'll just do one single pull? Words are so hard today. I think because of the cold fronts that's going to be coming through on Friday, I think my brain is already starting to go, hey, I'm here and I have a problem. Stop it. I'm also nervous. I'm very nervous to do this in front of you guys. Pushing myself outside of a comfort zone for this. I do not sew well, and things that I don't do well, I don't like to teach because I don't do it well, right? I don't know the proper terminology, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm always afraid to be called out on the carpet. Like, oh, you did that wrong. Well, of course I did that wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. But I do stuff like this online. Why? Again, because if there's something that you don't do well, and you just don't do it because you're scared you don't do it well, let's push each other outside of our comfort zones. Let's just do it. So what? You don't do it well. So what? I have got almost half. Got almost half of the hat sewn up now. And I'm running out of string. So I'm going to tie off the string. I'm also going to get my green hair out of the felt. Oh, so it's just because you keep that makes sense to me now. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. I'm trying to make a nice secure knot in here. When did you guys learn how to sew? What was the first thing you ever sewed? What was the very first thing? My very first thing was a button. That was my very first thing, was a button. And then I learned how to make a quilt. That was the second thing. And then I learned how to make a pillowcase and curtains. 5th grade. So 5th grade had a sewing class? I'm jealous. Super jealous. Super jealous. How is it that y'all, I can't complain though. My 5th grade had some cool stuff. We had the button man, which nowadays probably sounds pretty creepy. Never mind, it's probably really creepy. You want? I've said it now. I need to tell it. Okay. I went to school in Immokalee, Florida. Okay, went to school in Immokalee, Florida, which is in the southern Florida. Between my 4th and 5th grade year, the elementary school that I was supposed to go to burnt down. All right, just completely burnt down. And we had to get portables and be on another elementary school grounds. All right. Our principal, he knew that we would be bummed about having to share our school with others, and we weren't in our school, and it was a big transition. Some of us had to walk further than others, and so he wanted making coming to school a fun thing. And so he had this long trench coat that was covered with buttons, just covered with these 1-2 inch buttons, right? And he would go to class, and he would ask the teacher, who's been good today? And the teacher would pick a kid from their class that had done exceptionally well, and the kid got to pick a button off the coat, right? We all thought it was cool. We got, it was like, oh, the button man's here today. As an adult now, I'm like, I don't know how I would take that. A man come up in a trench coat with buttons all over it. But it was a very innocent thing, and we loved it. We absolutely loved it when I was a kid. The button man. I was friends with the neighbor's daughter, and I was 6, and she first showed me, and my mom used to sew as well. Aw. So you've got these cool childhood memories of sewing. You made a Barbie dress. What? You were 6 years old. And you made boxers? I'm done. In 7th grade, you did that. I'm done. See, that was not my life. I wish I could have sewn clothes when I was in 7th grade, man. I have such a wacky style. If I could sew clothes, I think that's the reason why. See, the universe knows. If it gave me the ability to sew, I would I would be the most eccentric looking thing that you've ever seen. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But the universe is like, we can't give her too many good things. And being very eccentric looking just can't work. It's too many good things. Oh. Yeah, you said a stuffed animal. Yes, I remember friends of mine making gingerbread. They had like at their church that they went to, they were teaching them how to make gingerbread men out of like corduroy. I think it was corduroy. They were sewing corduroy. And they made these little gingerbread. You made a seal. I think my kid's first one was stockings. They made Yule stockings. Hey, Ace, what's up? Hey, it's all right. This isn't like class, like you're just here. You missed it. It's okay. You can rewind and watch it later. It's a lot of me being very awkward about patterning because I'm scared that I'm going to do something wrong and I'm going to mess everybody up. So my anxiety is super high right now. Because I don't sew well. But we are going to muddle through it. We're muddling through this. Why? Like everything. Because it's how I live. Muddle through it. Ace, how excited are you that there's no school tomorrow? You get to sleep in. Zarabeth, does your kid have to go to school tomorrow, or are they off too? I think most schools are out. Yours has school, Heathen? See, our school, we get out for Veterans Day and Good Friday, I believe. Your daughter's off tomorrow, Maria? I remember there was a petition going on around October. I want to say last year's October, not this past October, but the October before it. And they were wanting to make a school holiday the day after Halloween. So, like, say your Halloween falls on a Sunday, Monday would be a school holiday. That way the kids can have time to recoup from their Halloween trick or treating. I was like, I'm with this. Where's the petition? Let me sign. I don't want to go to work the next day either. Oh, well, at least he has aunties to watch him, though. And I'm sure they're gonna spoil him rotten. So you're not, Maria. You don't work all day. I would love to find something from work from home, but I I don't know. I think about um, the interactions. I'm like, would I miss them? Would I miss the interactions if I worked from home? But I also know that if I was working from home and it was something that I really loved, I would be working 6 to 6. I would be working nonstop because I get hyper fixated on things that I really like, and so I just do that. Lori, oh my gosh, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? You got another tube out. That's good. Yeah, that's a good thing. Danielle, work from home was not for you? Why? Why did you not like it? I enjoyed teaching from home. I enjoyed teaching from home immensely. It was a lot of fun. Um, we had a great time. We got to do some fun things. Uh, I had a I had a blast teaching from home. Uh, Hopefully the pain will stop soon. I know that you're probably over feeling gross and yucky. I just worry, I worry that you're uncomfortable. Okay? Okay? I don't want you being uncomfortable and I don't want you being in pain. Got it? Night. I figured as much, Lori. I figured as much. It was mainly my job. I think it was hard to separate home from work. It never felt like I was off. That's how I feel about teaching even from face to face. Like it feels like I'm never off. Like I'm always I don't like leaving my house because I don't want to run into like parents and students and everything because I'm off. I don't want to have to talk about work. Um but that's how I feel about teaching. Like you're never off. You're never off. I remember when I first started teaching, they made us go through a class on ethics. And one of the things was like, don't go out and like drink. Don't go out drinking. Because if you go out drinking and you get like wasted, it could it could look bad on you. And I'm like, that I'm a person? Wait, what? So there was a lot of things that as a teacher you're just always on. But work from home jobs, I have a friend that she works for an insurance company and she says she feels like she gets up and she checks her email at 2 o'clock in the morning. She's like, I'm not even on the clock, but I'm checking my email to see what's coming in. Like, oh, big hugs, big gentle hugs to you, Lori. Big gentle hugs to you. Gentle. We don't want to hurt Lori. Shaking off negativity from the workday was rough because you didn't have the ride home. That's true, Danielle and Zarabeth. I didn't think about that. Yeah, the ride home. The ride home is a way of just detoxing. Like you turn up the music and listen to something that you can jam to and fill your heart back with joy. Yeah. Oh, you hug hard, Zarabeth. Oh. You worked okay. Oh my gosh. So you would have to deal with people like in crisis mode, wouldn't you, Danielle? You were having to deal with people in crisis mode. And so, of course, like their best isn't coming through at that time. So I'm sure their words were very unkind to you because they're in crisis and don't are too stressed to think of other words, right? Oh my gosh. Lori, did you get to have dinner with Dan again? I hope so. Y'all are too cute. All right, I've got the brim sewn. I am just getting a nice sturdy knot in here so that way I can flip my hat. Okay. So I've got a nice sturdy knot in here. I have a little magnet. What you're seeing me grab right here is, I don't sew, but because I do sew a little, I have a little magnet up on the wall with my needles, so I can just grab whichever needle I want. But so this is all sewn up, right? I'm going to turn it inside out, so that way my stitching is on the inside. And again, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. That is okay. This is a witch's hat that is worn by a woodland witch, not a witch with a sewing machine. But if you have a sewing machine, you probably could have gotten done with this a lot quicker. So I have got my brim now turned inside out, making sure that I have pushed out all of my stitching, so that way I have a nice clean edge. Now I am going to stitch. Now I'm going to stitch the sides of my triangle. And once I get done sewing the sides of my triangle, I will pull this inside out and start sewing the tabs of this between this. Okay, so let me repeat that, because that's just confusing. Or at least it is to me. My two triangles, I have them pinned together right now. I'm going to sew each side. All right. Turn this inside out, so that way my stitching you can't see. And then I will start sewing these flaps between my brim. All right. That stitching can be hidden with the ribbon that you will put on for decoration. All right. So whatever ribbon you have, I typically use like a big 3-inch ribbon, and I can hide the ugliness underneath it. I will use hot glue on this, not for holding anything together as far as like structurally on the hat, but for like making sure that the ribbon stays where I want it. I'll put a little bit of dab of hot glue in certain places of the ribbon. So let's start sewing up the cone. I don't know if I'm going to get through it in 15 minutes, but we're going to try. All right, we're going to try. For sure, the biggest issue was I was still responsible for sales, and I had a hard time managing. Oh, yeah. That was something that my husband and I talked about with the pandemic and me teaching from home last year. Was we have 5 kids. If this would have happened when our children were younger, one, I would have gone insane. Absolutely not like, oh, it's so crazy. No, I would have gone insane. Trying to teach 5 children, trying to homeschool 5 children, because that's what it would have been. They would have been homeschooled. Trying to homeschool 5 children and teach. I taught 215 kids last year because I had 8 classes. 8 classes. Legally, I'm only supposed to teach 6, but I got, I volunteered to teach more because it allowed me to stay home. By teaching more classes, it allowed me to stay home and not have to come in. So I taught more classes. But I don't know how you guys did it with children at home, working from home. Like, my hat's off to you. That had to take some major chaos planning. Like, you had to plan for some stuff to go down on a regular. and just get through it. That's crazy, Danielle. You guys are talking about hugs inside chat. A good hug lessens depression and releases dopamine. This is facts, Zarabeth. Oh, Lori, I'm glad that they came and visited you. I'm so glad they came and visited you. I miss hugging. I miss hugging. But I don't. I'm so scared to hug people nowadays. Weird things that the pandemic changed. Hugs. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Ow! Sorry, poked myself. How did they stay a long time, or was it a short visit? Because I know that they were probably busy as well. When my nieces give me is the best. Oh, I have my granddaughter. When I call my daughter, you'll hear my granddaughter. She'll hear me, and she's like, "I love you. I love you." Like, I will do anything for you, stinky face. Anything. You want a pony? I'll get you a pony. I can't afford a pony, but I would try. Let me sell a kidney for her. Somebody want my kidney? Granddaughter wants a pony. Come on, Zarabeth. If you didn't think I was going to get through this without stabbing myself with a needle, have you really been watching this channel? Have you not seen how clumsy I am? Like, I broke something last Witchy Wednesday. We shattered glass, right? We know I'm going to go through this and I'm going to hurt myself at least once in these crafts. Used to call, oh yeah, I call my granddaughter Stinky Face, and we bought her the book, um Adventures of Stinky Face, I think it was called. I don't know. Is that what you were reading to Connor? Is the Adventures of Stinky Face? Or I can't remember the name of the book, but we got her a book. And I was like, this is perfect. This is her book. We are a clumsy bunch, Zarabeth. This is true. Straight facts. As my students would say, according to them, this means truth. And I hope I'm getting it right. I'm not saying something that's going to get like, people are going to be like, I can't believe this woman said this. According to my students, when you say something is truth, it's no cap. No cap. Now I made that word instantly uncool because I said it. But that's their slang term for telling the truth. No cap. I don't understand their slang. I think it's funny, and I find it cool the way that they grow language, but it's just interesting that their choice of slang terms is very interesting. And I'm sure people said that about us. You know, we had some weird slang, or at least my age group did. If we thought if there was a pretty girl, she was called a Betty. Like, that's just um we said rad and psych. So I'm sure people thought our slang was weird. That's it. I love you, Stinky Face. That's it. As you can see, all I'm doing is just stitching up the side. I will stitch up this side and stitch up this side because it looks like I will run out of time. So I'm going to show you very, very, very basically how the inside goes. We have, imagine this has been completely sewn up. This right here, this is not sewn up together. The inside is not sewn up together. And there's a reason for that. These little flaps that we cut into the cone, they need to be inserted in the middle between and sewn together. Now, the easiest way that I found to do this was to actually just kind of use my pins and pin it down and then go around and sew it. All right. But you were wanting to make sure that you get every single edge. So what I did was I would go to one edge and pin it, and then I would go to the other edge and pin it. If I needed to like adjust the pins as I went along, I did that. But I just made sure that those little flaps were in between this. Then I would just sew it all the way up and it's done. Like that's it. That's the whole witch's hat. Then I would go and start decorating it any way I want. If you want a witch's hat for Yule, you can put a nice, beautiful silver ribbon with and make yourself some cinnamon cookie dough. Not actual cookie dough, but like cinnamon ornament dough. And then you have, you know, the cinnamon ornament hanging off of your hat, and you can smell Yule, right? You can smell Yule. So that's it to making a witch's hat my way. Again, I know for a fact that there are other ways of making this that are probably a lot easier for people that aren't spatially challenged like me. For me, this is how I understood to make a hat, and I was able to create the hat that you see. Like I said in the beginning of this live, I want you guys to take away from all these things that a part of a witch's power is self-discovery. And let me explain that. As we understand the capabilities that we have, as we learn these capabilities, we grow in confidence. So me being able to put together a witch's hat, even though I don't sew very well and I don't do patterns at all, me being able to just figure that out, just to be able to do that math, it empowered me. It charged me up. It made me feel confident in who I am. And it made me think, well, if I can do that, then what can I do? What else can I do? Like, if I did that, and that to me was really super difficult, then maybe something else I find really super difficult I can do. Maybe that thing that I've been wanting to manifest, but really scared that I don't have the power to, maybe that thing I can manifest. So, as much as it's weird that a witch's hat would do that for you, it's what it did. All right. And as far as the hat itself, why do witches wear hats? There is a lot of lore behind a witch's hat. Ultimately, we see a lot of references to just like it was kind of like a healer's hat. But again, there's so much lore to it. Go and read something. Why do I wear a witch's hat? Because I think they look cool. Because I think they look cool. I can make one for pretty much any season that I want. And now that I'm older and need to stay in the shade more, it provides some nice shade. So I'll make some more witches hats. Zarabeth, let's see. Make seasoned bands you can rotate. Exactly. Like just make different little, ribbons to move from hat to hat. Yep. Oh, I love you, Danielle. I absolutely love you. So I am very, very happy that you guys come along the ride with me and you bear with all my nervousness and anxiety and going, I'm not going to get this right. And you cheer me on, and we get to the end of this and you're like, hey, we made a thing. And it was kind of cool. And I feel kind of charged up for it. I feel like I've been placed in the moonlight, right? I figured it out. So I'm glad you guys are along the ride with me. All right. And I appreciate you very, very much. All right. Now let's see I want to see if we plot anything planned for next week. If not, we need to plan something for next week. So I'm getting out our witch's planner and seeing what we've written down, because I'm pretty sure we had something. Let's see. So tonight is the 10th, and we had witches' hats. Next week is resin daggers. Next week, I'm going to show you how to make a ritual resin, and I'm going to say the name wrong, athame, which is a dagger. All right, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to teach you how to make resin daggers for ritual use and what we can put in them. So you guys are going to actually be with me for resin next week, next Witchy Wednesday. Now, the sound is going to be a little muffled. I will warn you in advance. Because it is resin, I will have to be running an air filter in here. And actually, it's not an air filter, it's an air purifier. I will be running an air purifier in here because with me talking on camera, I won't be able to wear my respirator. And when you are working with resin, it is very, very, very important to have proper ventilation and to wear a respirator. And this will be the one time I'm not wearing respirator. I know the risk that I am taking. I know that that is not proper safety. And when you do it at home, you should absolutely be wearing a respirator and have proper ventilation. Okay. That being said, no, I will not be wearing a respirator next week. But if you are wanting to play along for Witchy Wednesday, get yourself a silicone mold, get yourself some 2-part epoxy resin. They sell it on Amazon, relatively cheap if you get like the smaller bottles, and you'll need a smaller bottle. Get whatever colors that either pigments or like powdered pigments, or I use alcohol resin, alcohol inks. You can get yourself some alcohol inks. And we are going to put in different types of flowers and eggshells into those daggers. So if you want to play along, get yourself a little dagger mold, resin mold, get yourself some epoxy resin and some alcohol inks, and we'll go from there. All right. That sounds fun. You're definitely going to have any of the things to do the things, but I enjoy watching. I've been looking at maybe some of these videos that I do. I think maybe if I would put up a list on Amazon of here's the things that I use for some of these things, that way it would be easier for you guys to go to my link tree and just go, oh, there's the list of things, and grab that as you need them, you know. But I don't know how to do that. And I frankly don't have a whole lot of time to do that research because I've got some other stuff that I've got to research. So for now, it's just me telling you, hey, these things are out there. But yes, we will be making resin charmed daggers. I will make sure you guys understand. I know that Stefan was asking me about how, if it was possible to take and create ritual items or witchy tools from resin, and that's an absolute thing, and that's what I want to show you, is how do we use resin in our craft. So all right, my lovelies, it's that time. Be happy, be safe, know that I love you, and next week we work with resin on Wednesday. I don't know what that was. It's okay. It's over. You don't have to hear that again. see you guys next week. Bye.